Hi everybody, how you doing? Really hope you're enjoying our week so far on autumn annuals. Fall, hello fall. Hello. What I thought we would talk about today is how to plant. So I am actually going to plant tomorrow, but I thought I would talk to you guys about how to plant your fall flowers. And then I realized when I looked back, this is meant to be a garden trowel, but it kind of looks like a silly carrot.
It does.
Yeah, but it's a garden trowel. Okay, that's why I'm explaining my drawing. That's how good of an artist I am. I have to take time out of the show to explain it. If I hadn't drawn it in the first, anyway.
It's art.
It's art, exactly. Art is in the eye of the beholder. It can be a weird, if you want that to be a weird carrot, it's a weird carrot. So, yeah, planting annuals. So if you've been following along, you know we already discussed planting a tree in the fall and how that's different. So the biggest difference, and we've already touched on this, and I'm going to do it again, I have no problem beating a dead horse because there is so much misinformation. Fertilizer annuals. Fertilize. That includes the existing ones that are still doing good, and it includes the new ones that you're going to put in. Put in a flowering fertilizer. And again, the reason for that is it doesn't matter what you do, they are going to die. This is going to keep them producing and keep them going right till the end. And some of you might ask why I always grab ProMix. I've been using ProMix since my days at university, and also always happy to point out I like giving shout outs to Canadian companies. So that's why I like to use ProMix, plus they do have a very good product. So fertilize, and I don't care what you use. I don't care if it's granular, if it's slow release, if it's a fertilizer spike. You don't have to buy new if you've got some that you've used in the summer, an all-purpose 2020, go ahead and use it. Just keep the fertilizer going to them. And then the other thing is water. Water. It gets cooler out. We wake up and there's that moisture and dew all over the garden. People go, oh, well, I guess it doesn't need water. If it's going up to 20 degrees during the day with no precipitation, it is going to need water. So get that in there. Now, one of the great things about doing a fall flower, an autumn annual, as opposed to doing your summer ones, is most of the time your garden is prepped. So we spoke about in the spring, if you remember, we go back to season 1, all the way back to April, which seems like a lifetime away now, and we talked about you got to add the amendment, you got to weed out the soil, you got to cultivate it, you got to do all that. Well, if you've been keeping up all season, you've been cultivating your soil, you've been weeding, so it's good to go. So you've got your summer annual in, and let's move that down there. Your summer annual now, it's not looking good. The flowers are all brown. Your leaves are going blackish. It's dying. Got hit by the frost. It's tired. You've fertilized, you've watered, you've pushed that lifespan to the max. There's no energy left. Root system is depleted. It's done. So you're going to come along and you're going to yoink that guy out. You don't need him anymore. So you just grab it, pull it out, discard it, you're done. Well, now you've got a perfect spot to put your fall flower. You know the soil is good. You know it's given something. It has been depleted because this guy's been growing, which takes us back to the fertilizer. Fertilize, get it some nutrition, and put your fall fertilizer in. The soil's already loose because you've just pulled the plant out, so it's easy to get it in there. And quite essentially, it's going to fill in, you backfill with the soil around it, and you're good to go. Now, with all of that being said, if you want to add additives, no harm, no foul. It is not going to do any damage whatsoever. You're not going to hurt your annual. It's not going to be a rapid game changer. it is getting cooler out. We are losing light. Those two factors combined by that very nature means the active growth is slowed down. So we know in the spring, in the summer, tons of light, heat, water, fertilizer. The roots are just, going bananas. They're like, oh, look at me go. At this time of year, very slow. There isn't enough light for the photosynthesis to hit it to feed the roots. The roots aren't bringing up as much to put out more leaves to capture more photosynthesis. The plant is getting ready for dormancy no matter what. So putting in additives, it's not going to hurt it. You're not going to suddenly shock it into this amazing amount of growth. No, that being said, disclaimer, because we are dealing with nature, there's very few things in a garden that you can 100% put your money behind. So we may get an absolutely gorgeous autumn, and it's warm, and it rains at the right time, and all of that, but we are never going to get more light. That is very simply physics. We're a globe. As the planet is turning, we are going further away from the sun. As we get further away from the sun, there is less light happening. We know the photosynthesis is the food. Without that happening, it doesn't really matter what we're doing, it's not going to grow. Take a plant, give it the best conditions, the best soil, the best fertilizer, the healthiest plant you've got, and put it in a closet in the dark, it's not going to do well. Doesn't matter what else you give it, it is not going to do well because it's not getting the light. So even with all of the best conditions, you may see a spike in growth, but it isn't going to do anything major because quite simply it's not getting the light. And there's not much we can do about that. We can't get into artificial lights, but we have that in an upcoming week where we're going to discuss things like that. So we've covered that. We've covered where you're going to plant it. And then the other thing that is essential for when you do it is the deadheading. So this plant is going to still grow. Like I said, it won't grow as active as the spring and the summer, but it's still going to happen. We've already touched on, we're planting these guys, the pollinators are going to come. Even without a pollinator, so your pollinator comes along, it hits a flower, we all know the pistil, the stamen, the seed, the pollen, and now boom, you got a seed forming, it drops the petals. Doesn't need to keep them alive anymore, waste of energy, now it wants to form on that seed. So as that is growing, the plant is bringing energy up and putting a lot of energy into that, starting a new seed. Now, even without a pollinator, if you don't have a pollinator, it's being too cold, they're not out, they're not coming to your yard, whatever the case might be, that flower still has a lifespan. Okay, that flower's out there trying to get a pollinator, it doesn't happen, boom, it drops, it's past its best. Another one will come up. Best way to make it happen is to deadhead. So, get rid of those old flowers. Now, we just look at the live head. We did that one, and it's the same thing. Can I lift this guy out without causing an avalanche? Sure can. So it's the same thing. When this one starts getting past his best, you can use your snips. I'm just going to use my nail, and then quite literally break it away. Now, no more energy is going into that. So where's that energy going to go? It's going to go into these new buds, and it's going to get those new buds to open. This plant is trying to get pollinated. It wants the bee to come along, it wants to make seeds. A dead flower with no seed is no good to the plant itself. So it is always going to try. You get rid of that dead head, all of that energy goes to all of those buds, all of that energy goes, oh, this guy's broken. All of that energy goes, so is this guy, wow, this guy took a little bit of a beating, I think. I'm gonna plant him up and save him. All of that energy is gonna go to putting out more flowers. So essentially, as we saw when we talked about trees, how different it is.
You're beautiful.
Symmetry, Brandon.
There you go.
It's all about balance. I lost my trees. Oh yeah, trees. Do you think next year we could get a teleprompter?
Yeah.
It might be easier for
Yeah.
Would you guys like me to read off a teleprompter? How boring would that be? I'd be like, hello, welcome to GAKidsTV. Today we are talking about... So yeah, as we talked about with trees, it is different. You do want to use a compost, but no fertilizer. With this, we're saying the other way. You don't need a compost, but you do need a fertilizer. And the difference with that, tree is going to last forever. We don't want the new growth burned, but we want those roots to really have the best chance. This we don't care, right? Best case conditions. You put it in September. You have all of September, all of October. If you got all of November, I'd be absolutely floored. But even then, what we said about the light, it's not going to be growing. So that is not going to happen. Oh, I lost my flower. So basically, what it boils down to is the reason it's different. We're going to fertilize, we're not going to amend. If you want to amend, fill your boots, it's not going to hurt. Now, the other thing, and I don't know if I'll have time to talk about this tomorrow, because tomorrow we're getting our hands dirty. And we already talked about it. Other bulbs. Okay, and there's daffodils, muscari, crocus, tulips, garlic, all kinds of good stuff. We are going to do a much bigger thing in bulbs, but I want to let you guys know, basically in a nutshell, if you want this in the spring and early summer, you need to plant now. We get so many disappointed people, and there's a lot I can do in a garden to help somebody. I've learned a lot of workarounds and tricks and things like that. I cannot give you a tulip in the spring if you didn't plant it in the fall. It's that simple. It can't be done. Yeah, there's forcing bulbs and all of that. We'll talk about that in the upcoming week. But that needs to be done now. There's nothing to be done with this. So these are bulbs. You're going to plant them now, but you're going to get the results in the spring. I do find there's a lot of people that don't get that. So that's why we're doing a whole week on bulbs. And just to show you something cool too. They're both tulips. How rad is that, eh? The diversity and the fun you can have with these. But again, that's another subject. So tomorrow, we're going to be getting our hands dirty. And we're going to do a planter. And we've got pre-built planters here that are excellent. Excellent. We've got that one, and we've got a window box one. So there are pre-built planters. So if you want that burst of color, you might not have the time. Like we were saying, kids are back in school, be it homeschooling or going to school, work, we might not have the time to do it. So we've got some beautiful, beautiful autumn planters that are coming. I'm going to show you how to do one, and we're going to get a little bit more creative, I think, than this, because we're simply going to use a different planter, and we're going to use different plants that you might not see in there. And again, I was wondering what was behind my ear. Again, you're limited only by what you want to do. We're going to give you some guidelines tomorrow, but again, they're guidelines. Don't ever think, well, I have to do it like this because Colin did it like that. Absolutely not at all. You do what you want to do. You might not like yellows, so do oranges. You might love yellows, and you might think yellow goes amazing with blue, so put yellow and blue together. There's no wrong answers. It's all about what you want to see in your garden. So that wraps us up on how to plant the annuals. Again, questions, comments, concerns, anything you want, let us know. Love to you all. Can't wait to get my hands dirty tomorrow. It's been too long. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for planting an autumn planter. Bye, everyone.